Morning meditation. Hi, I'm the Reverend Dr. William L. Johnson III, and it is my pleasure to share this message with you today. Today, I would like to take a moment to thank you for being faithful and encouraging us through this journey as we have been sharing these morning meditations for more than a year now, a year and a half, working on 2 years as we began this time together in the heat and the depths of the pandemic. We wanted to offer these words of encouragement for all those who might find themselves struggling to do their best. We are aware that whatever we are doing, however life has rolled in for us, we have found that words of encouragement, words of inspiration help us along the way. And sometimes we have to encourage ourselves, but sometimes we have to encourage one another in order to feel like and to know that we can make it through whatever it is we're dealing with for right now. And so I want to talk with you for a few moments on what we've entitled for this morning meditation, The Season We Are In. The season we are in. All of us, most of us, have found ourselves repeatedly looking back and looking over the season that just passed or looking forward to the season that's coming. And often, as we are living our lives, we are either at a place where we're rearing children, or we're looking forward to having a life and a family and raising children, or we're looking forward to retirement, or we're looking back at the good old days. Whatever our season is, it is important to be aware of the season we are in. I just left Chicago for a National Council of Churches meeting with a dialogue between Muslims and Christians in the interreligious dialogue section of the convening table for the National Council of Churches. I was fortunate and I'm fortunate to be a part of that group. And so that as we were having discussions across the board, no matter what group is having a discussion, whether it be Buddhist and Christian, or Hindu and Christian, or Sikh and Christian, or Jewish and Christian, or Muslim and Christian, we have found that all around the world, in every aspect of our faith traditions, we have found people struggling with the season we are in. It seems like the one that we're in is unprecedented, and we have not yet faced what we face. We've heard that mantra over and over again. I'm not so sure when I look back at history, and I'm a student of history, that those things in which those before us have come before us have faced, for them, it was an unprecedented moment as well for much of what they had to endure. World War I, World War II in this country, looking back at the Roman Empire, looking back at the transatlantic slave trade, looking back at all this history, the Holocaust and others, we have found that the history of the world has been replete with trauma and drama and hardship and difficulty and all those things that generations before us have gone through. We now face some of those challenges. However, it is important, I think, to acknowledge the season we're in, not the season we left and not the season we're hoping to go into or we're dreading to go into, but the moment and the one that we're in. Seasons are funny. They are interesting things. They have a character all of their own. And whether or not it's a season like winter, summer, spring, and fall, or whether it's a part of a process of our own lives, or whether it's something that we are enduring and dealing with as a season or a time of grief, a time of difficulty, a time of challenge, and even a time that feels like we're in a moment of scarcity. What we are aware of is that we've had to ride this thing out many, many times. But to embrace the season that we're in is a part of life that I think we miss, and we miss the value and the joy and the happiness, and yes, some of the tears that come with acknowledging where we are, not where we want to be, not what we think we would like, where we would like to be, or not the place where we want to get away from, but the moment that we are in. So I ask that you take a moment, just a moment in your own life, your own journey, a moment right now to think about and give an assessment for yourself. Where am I? What season am I in? Am I in the spring of my life? Am I in the fall of my life? Am I in winter or am I in summer? Am I in a place where I am good with life and I have joy and peace? Am I in a struggling place? Am I in a moment of transition? Whatever that season is, you got to put your finger on it and know where you are. Because the moment you are able to live in the moment that you're in, lean in to the season that you're in, now you're ready to embrace your whole life and whatever comes next. In our dialogue, we discovered that where we are is a unique place, and it's a place filled with wonder and some of what we call weariness. What I suggest and what I'm offering to us is to be able to know the season we're in, the collective season we're in, and our own individual season. And sometimes they line up. Sometimes we are aware that the season we're in as an individual is lined up with the season we're in as a collective. And that is important because then you understand why you are here and what assignment you have for the moment you're in. There's nothing like being aware of where you are and what you have to bring to the table and bring to life in the moments that we're in together. It's not your season of when you're going to be wealthy or when you're going to get the things you want, or how you're going to be able to achieve this or what accolades you can have bestowed upon you. Not talking about that kind of season, but I'm talking about when you are aware of who you are and where you are in the moment you're in while you're in this collective story called life and the history that we're engaged in. So I'm encouraging you to look and see what season you're in. It's nothing like being ready for your moment. I've watched them, and I love movies. Many of you have heard me give these messages before, but I'm also aware of the lessons they teach. Years ago, I started reading and watching when I was much younger, The Lord of the Rings. It was the Hobbits and that story. J.R.R. Tolkien, I think, wrote these books. And what I have learned is that the books that he wrote were about the times in which he was living, or they were living, and we were living as a nation and in the world. And as I remember my first encounter of watching The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit when I was a kid, it was an animated cartoon, and when seeing it, I discovered that the images were important. The orcs were not just orcs, but they had the symbolism of Nazi German soldiers marching upon and destroying everything in their wake. And when you know when it was written, you know that that is the imagery that the writer of the books wanted to put out, or the writers who pulled the animation together to try to explain what it felt like in World War I and World War II in the world. All the things that there was a force at work that felt like it was evil taking over the world. And there was one individual, one little hobbit, one little individual who found himself having a pure enough heart to be carried along in that season of his life for a purpose. And later on, we watched this, the movie, a representation of the Lord of the Rings, only to discover that the rings were, and the idea of the rings only could be carried by one Mr. Frodo who had the ability to bear the ring without being changed completely by it. In other words, he didn't have another purpose in life but to be the one necessary for what needed to happen at that moment in time. Today may be your day. Maybe your meeting or being in the grocery store. It may be you at your season matching someone else at another season, discovering how to encourage them and bring light into a dark place. How about knowing your season, the season we are in, and being able to embrace it and know that you have something to offer because that's why you are here. I work in the hospital. I serve as a clergy person in the community. What I've discovered is that there's nothing sweeter, nothing better than knowing why you are here and having something to offer in your own season that matches the moment of the season we are in. And I think everyone has something to offer. Often we are out of place. We are trying to project ourselves into another season and miss the very moments that we have right now. Or we're living in the past moments, angry, frustrated, wounded, all the things, dealing with grief that we are now projecting that sometimes into our current moment and our current season. How about living right now? You're going to hear me say it over and over again because this is the one life we're given, and this is the one moment we're given, in the one season we're given as we share it together. I'm honored to journey with you in it. Thanks so much. I hope these words of encouragement and inspiration help you. Remember, you're loved, you're appreciated, and yes, indeed, you're irreplaceable. We look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.